welcome on this new interview of the Summit Women Success Summit. And as you may know by now, during the whole week, I have a guest, I have expert, I have wonderful women who come and tell you to give you more strategy on your business, to go faster, to boost your business, and to use all the different strategy, because there's plenty of strategy in marketing, but you may not use all of them. So at the end of the week, you will know a lot of strategy, and the most important thing will be to know, okay, which one you want to use now, which one you want to use in the next few months, and maybe in the next few years. We don't know, but there's a lot of things. And today I'm very proud to have Wendy Caverly. Hi, Wendy, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you doing this today?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you. So you calling us from Michigan, right?
Yes, I am.
Okay, perfect. And you are known as, I love that. No, you're the founder of Crusader Networking.
Yes.
And then I remember the first time we spoke, we met through LinkedIn like a few months ago last year. And we realized we were both two connection queen.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, that's what we have in common. And
Yes.
that's the reason why today the topic we will speak with you will be how to establish, begin, and long-term networking partnership. But before we start that, can you give us a little more information about who you are, what you do, and how do you help people?
Yes. Well, as you mentioned, my name is Wendy Caverly. I am the founder of Crusaders Networking, which was created out of the chaos of 2020. When I started to realize that a lot of businesses had focused very heavily on one form of networking or another, because when economies are good, cold calling or business expos or things of that nature are easy slam dunks for them. But there's such a variety of networking styles out there that when things changed, they got caught off guard. You know, businesses that couldn't knock on doors anymore, or they couldn't have that expo where their customers walked right up to their table and asked for information. So they were scrambling, finding how they were going to still get in front of those people that they needed to be in front of. And I am an expert networker. My specialty for over 7 years has been what's known as a farming technique, which is a relationship building networking style. But I have actually really dove into the multiple styles of networking, each with a different goal and a different purpose and a different outcome. So basically, I view networking like your financial planning. You want to diversify so that when something unexpected happens, you don't find yourself scrambling to catch up. You already have other things in place. And a big part of that is establishing those long-term networking relationships so you have a team at your back. And that's actually what we're going to chat about today.
Absolutely. And just before we start, did you see a difference between, because now a lot of people realize that they can network on even on internet, on Zoom, and I said to everybody that I probably network even more internationally this year than normally, because normally I go to networking, we go to local, I go to Miami, I go to Paris, different places where I live, but we have less time to spend on internet. And then this year I spoke with so many people from so many countries. Yes. That was the good thing of, if we can say, the pandemic. And it's very important that you know how to adapt your business. You were able to adapt your business very quickly.
Yes.
Some people just don't know what to do because they were so used to one thing, and then they don't know what to do.
Yes, that's been a great thing for my business, actually. My network is no longer defined by geography. My business is no longer defined by geography because of this digital environment that exists, which is just as real as being in the same room with each other at the same time. I can help anyone anywhere. I can meet my clients wherever they are, and yet I don't have to commit the travel time. So it's also it's become an effective use of time. There's chaos and there's opportunity in chaos. And I think the people who saw that and were quick to pivot, quick to shift lanes to spot those opportunities have really found some great advantages to their business moving forward. Honestly, you and I would not be here if it hadn't been for what happened in 2020. We connected because we both moved to a digital environment, and it actually just opened our world.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So networking we know that for a lot of people, networking means selling, and we know that networking is not selling. So networking is just connecting, and as you say, long-term, effective and long-term relationship. So what for you, what are the first step? And I know when we speak about networking, we speak about small talk. People say, yeah, but I don't like small talk. I'm the first one to say I don't like small talk. But then you can small talk effectively. So can you teach us
Yes.
how we small talk effectively?
Yes. Well, first, a lot of people confuse networking for selling or marketing when it actually is not. It's an independent standalone skill. Networking is about the free exchange of ideas and knowledge to build connections with others for both personal and professional reasons.
Yeah, completely.
And I often talk about when you meet somebody for the first time, that's your first conversation with them. It's not your last.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want it to not be the last conversation with that person, don't focus on trying to get to the sale. Just get to the first professional date. That's that one-on-one time where you're sitting there in a coffee shop or a restaurant or through a Zoom call where you can sincerely get to know that other person. And so the techniques that I'm talking about today are not for that first meeting. It's for that first one-on-one time. You
Mm-hmm.
know, you've gotten time on the calendar with them. And small talk is an important part of that first meeting, that first networking connection to build those relationships, because small talk not only makes both people comfortable, but it helps you build a common ground.
Mm-hmm.
You know, finding common ground builds trust, and trust is where you're going to get the referrals, you're going to get the new introduction, you're going to get the information that you need for your own business. And how do you get to that trust? Well, you have to find common ground to start. And I know this sounds odd, but what is the easiest common ground to talk with most people? The weather.
Yeah.
How's the weather there?
Mm-hmm.
What do
That's the
you think
best way
about
to
this
start.
weather? It is. It is absolutely. It's something that you can use with a complete stranger.
Anybody, anybody.
Anybody. Anywhere. How's the weather?
Anybody had the answer. So it's not like a strange question. Everybody say, oh, it's nice here, or it's raining here. That's the way to start the conversation.
Absolutely. You start a conversation and then you hear stuff like, oh, they love the rain or they hate the cold or whatever the case may be. And it gives you an opportunity to build up. Another part of small talk is tell me about yourself and not about your business. I don't want to know about your business. I don't want to, are you married? Are you single? Do you love to travel? Where are you from? Where did you go to school? It's amazing how frequently you find out that in some way you're already connected to this person. Our networks are massive. I've had this really fun experience of connecting with people who either grew up in the area I grew up with or went to my school. We immediately have this shared background.
Mm-hmm.
That's an instant bond between two people. My favorites are when I run into somebody that went to the rival high school. Oh, okay. All right. I see what's happening here. So you build this common ground and then you start talking about people that you might already know. And it just highlights how you're already connected. It also shows your willingness to get to know them as an individual, not just trying to get them as a customer and to sell to them. So that small talk is really an important part of starting that long-term relationship. You're in it for the long haul. This is just the first meeting, not the last meeting. So why rush it?
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's also, that's what I say to my clients also. It's very important that you go from internet and then you ask for a call, whether it's a Zoom or phone, it doesn't matter. Because all of these little things, you can't say that because that doesn't have the same energy. And you don't talk about so many things about yourself in this exchange on LinkedIn or Facebook and something. And then you can start like with a word or with a sentence, and then suddenly there's like a whole conversation that can start. And I had this
Yes.
experience like few weeks ago with a woman from New York. That was the first time that we were speaking together. And then suddenly, I don't remember, she said, oh, you French, you from Normandy? And say, oh, I know when I was living in New York during what happened in the 9/11, I said, there's a French guy who was working with me. I helped him to get his green card. And then she said he was a volunteer firefighter.
Oh,
I was
wow.
like, what? A French guy, volunteer firefighter? I know only one guy. I saw him on TV years ago, and then I met him. I said, And then we realized it was the same guy. So it's a small word. I mean, we
Yes.
will never have this exchange, on the, through an exchange on LinkedIn or something like that. And then it's funny because I guess she mentioned it to him. So he wrote to me. I think last time I heard from this guy was 2006. And then he sent me a message on LinkedIn and said, oh, I heard we have a friend in common. So that's what another way to reconnect with the guy.
I
Yeah.
love that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I connected with a gentleman on LinkedIn, and eventually we actually did end up having lunch because we both live in the same town, so it was a nice opportunity to be face to face. Holy cow, our families were super close when we were children. We
Wow.
haven't seen each other in 30 years, but we already knew each other, and that just all of a sudden makes that, oh my God, this is amazing. How can I help you? Because I already have warm, fuzzy feelings for you. You have depth to me. That's what the small talk helps create. It creates the opportunities for depth of relationship, and there's the longevity. Mhm.
And then in networking, so it's good to have a conversation. It's good to ask questions to people, but the most important thing is to listen.
Yes, yes, absolutely. And because it's much more effective to ask, not tell,
Yeah.
when you're trying to connect with people. And how do you get a sense for the type of person they are as well if you're not asking questions and listening? Now, the interesting part about this, during this, you've gone through the small talk, and now you want to get down to business because you want to make sure that you actually do get to that business.
Mhm.
You're starting to listen for not only how they might be able to help you, but you also are listening for if they are someone you want to introduce to your existing network,
Mhm.
because you're the gatekeeper of your network. When you refer people into your network, you're loaning your reputation out. So you want to know as much as you can about how this person does their job,
Mhm.
what do they see their role as, or even just their why. Why do they do what they do? Whys are powerful. And it's also what sets you apart, especially in a very common industry. There's a millions of realtors, millions of insurance agents, millions of financial advisors. So what makes you unique?
Different. Mhm.
And in addition to that, what makes you unique makes you more easy to refer,
Mhm.
because you hold this highlighted place inside someone's mind. So yes, their ideal client. Why did they choose what they do? I do really love a good why. I know a mortgage gentleman years ago. He is an Army veteran, and he bought his first home, did not take advantage of a certain type of mortgage that's available specifically for veterans in the United States. And he really felt as if he got taken advantage of, that he lost a lot of money. So the passion he brings to his profession is he doesn't want that to happen to someone else.
Mhm.
Infinitely referable. And yeah. And then the hope is, if you are sincere about asking questions that focus on them as a professional, that they're going to reciprocate by asking you those same questions as well. That's where you can find those mutually beneficial opportunities for each other going forward.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Mhm.
then so during those exchanges, because you don't have just one, but normally if everything works, I mean, we don't definitely don't have the connection with everybody. With some people we speak once and then we notice that there's no connection, no synergy. So it's okay. We can't connect with
Exactly.
everybody. But
Exactly.
when you have the feeling that there's something, it's like dating, you have the first date and then you want the second one and the third one. And so even in French, we don't have the same way. I see, I live in the US for 18 years. I always heard like the rules of the first, third, and fourth date. I never got that. But it's
Right.
the same. You have a first date, you want a second one, and you have the feeling with the person, and you want at some point to end with a partnership in business also. So what's to expect, what not to expect in the second meeting, in the third meeting, and how do you continue to have connection with those people?
Right. Well, You can always tell when you're having a really good connection with someone because you're making a list of things to do for them when you're done talking. And it could be a variety of things from you asked a question, I didn't have that answer, let me go find it for you. I'm going to introduce you to this person I know, watch for that email. And so you're making a to-do list. So what you should expect from a great trust builder is you're going to walk away with things to do for them. What you should not expect is a list of things they're going to do for you. It's a give to get philosophy. Now, that doesn't mean that you're not going to get to the point where, all right, you know what, I've done a lot. Can you help reciprocate? But if you're looking for that an obligation type of relationship, it's never going to get to that deep advocate. They're not going to become an advocate for you if they feel that there's an obligation to it. So you should expect to walk away looking for opportunities for them without the expectation of that being returned. And it's also, and hopefully part of your to-dos included a future opportunity to connect more. Be it come visit this group that I'm a part of, or I'm going to send you to my client and I'm going to hear from my client how you've done, or can you introduce me to so-and-so. So it's hard not to go in with expectations, but networking is not about selling and it's not about marketing. That's the good point to remind that. It's about connecting and exchanging information. So if you do it right, you're going to see that comes back to you. But then, like a lot of professional dating, that's basically what this is. It's not something that's instantaneous. It's time. You and I connected, I think, for the first time in November of last year. And I know that sometimes it just has to come back around on its own, but when it's organic, it's actually healthier. So that's another reason why you have to diversify your networking styles so you don't get impatient or you don't get pushy with your connections.
And it's very important to remember. And I remember when I arrived in New York at the beginning of the 2000, I didn't know networking because networking didn't exist in France at the time. It changed. Now they know more, not completely, but more. Right. And it's funny because I heard all the time, give without expecting anything in return. So I heard that the first time and the second time. And I remember the first 6 months of my business, I was organizing networking events because I said, I don't know the concept, but I like the concept. But that's how I got my visa to start a business and stay in the US. And I remember the first 6 months of the business, I met people, they came to my events, and then everybody said, oh, let's have coffee. So I had coffee and tea. I spent like all my afternoon pretty much at Starbucks. And after 6 months, I said, okay, everybody wants to say, let's meet. Everybody say, don't give without expecting in return. Yes. And I say, but that's already 6 months and I don't see anything in return. At some point, I doubt and I said, okay, should I continue? And then I realized that at some point, it's not that you give to somebody, they have to reciprocate and give it to you. You give to somebody who give to another one and it just turn. And that's how it's coming. You don't have to, and people just often expect that you give something to somebody, they have to give something to you. That's a big, big mistake, I think.
It is. And it may not be the person that you give to that returns. Yeah. You gave to this person, but they told someone else about you. So that third party is the one that returned that. And something else to kind of caution people with is sometimes you need to predetermine what you consider value in this relationship. For me, as a professional networker, I've been successfully doing this for 7 years now. I am just as excited by having a resource so I can help a client as I am having a sale. Sometimes the value is not the dollar. It's I have a problem. I now know who to go to for the solution. Mm-hmm. Or my customer has a problem and I can offer my customer a solution as opposed to just saying, I'm sorry, that really sucks for you. Good luck on that. Yeah. Or just I've made some great friends. Mm-hmm. Like I call these people my lid lifters. They make me better. And I wouldn't have known them if I had gone into networking situations judging people on their financial value to myself. I would have missed out on a lot of opportunities. And that's actually a great caution as well. When you do connect with new people, remember, they are the doorway to an entirely new network. And if you want access to that network, you have to be willing to help. So they open that door and introduce you in.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And how would you say today, because some people, as we said at the beginning, some people are getting lost, on how to adapt your business to the situation. So for you, because you say you adapt your business very well and you took opportunity of it, what are the best way to network right now? Since we still can't, you in the US, I'm in France, we can't really go outside yet. So what are the best way to network, even if it's in virtual, like we're doing now?
Absolutely. The easiest thing to do, that's actually I really like that. I'm thinking about doing a short workshop on this as well, is if you're in like a LinkedIn or a social media environment, connect with that person, like their page, interact with their things before you ask them for their time. But when you do ask them for their time, ask for their time. Hey, I don't know if this is something that you would be interested in, but I'd love to learn more about you. Wait until they agree before offering your calendar.
Absolutely.
It is a little bit longer process, but
yeah,
with so much moving into a digital format, that cold calling mindset has also moved into the digital format, where somebody sends you a connection request and 30 seconds later you have this huge email in your inbox, which includes a link to their meeting calendar, an opportunity to connect, here's my free book, here's all of this stuff. That's the equivalent of knocking on someone's front door and then sitting down on their couch before they invited you in.
Absolutely. I love it.
Yes, it's becoming quite a thing. So even in the digital format, you treat it the same as if it was in the person. That first opportunity is that let's feel each other out, and then let's interact with a little bit, and then I'd love to connect more. Is it okay? So there's nothing wrong with moving at their pace, especially if you're filling your calendar with a lot of people this way. You're still finding all of those opportunities. But you're coming across as a networker, sincere about connecting, as opposed to I'm just trying to get in front of you for a sales pitch.
And what you said, it takes a little longer, but you had the better quality of relationship on the long term.
Exactly. And that's the goal. No one is an overnight success, and no one will stand in front of a room full of people accepting the Person of the Year trophy and say, I did it all by myself. They always thank everyone who helped them along the way.
And then in order to keep the relationship for the long term, how often do you suggest, I know there's no special step for that, but how often, because you connect with somebody, you have like maybe 2-3 connection in a short period of time, but then because I have this question a lot, should we wait like a week, a month, like a quarter? How often should we connect with the people?
That does, again, sound like dating, doesn't it? How long do I wait to call after our first date? That's one of the advantages to leaving your one-on-one time with a to-do list, because you have a reason to get in contact with them again. And then if part of that to-do list included referring them to somebody, you have another reason to contact them again because you want to know how it went. Did they do a good job? Did they take care of you? And if you do find that it's been a few months since you connected with somebody, there's absolutely nothing wrong with sending a quick message that says, I thought of you today. How are you doing? What's new? Is there anything that I can do to help? At some point in this conversation, I cannot believe I forgot to mention it. At some point in this conversation, you should say the words, how can I help you? And if they don't know how you can help them because they still don't know exactly what you do or what your value is to them, change the words to, what do you need right now? You might have the solution to their problem, and then that is immediately going to create that connection between you that will be very hard to break, because you help them with something they needed without expectation of something in return.
Yeah, absolutely. So do you have like, if they're like big, you just mentioned that don't send a link immediately if people don't like, but what do you see as the big no-no of networking?
A big no-no of networking is overwhelming someone with information about yourself first.
Yeah, love that.
Make it about them. learn about them. And if you know about them, it's a lot easier for you to tailor your responses on how you can help them,
Mhm.
but you have to listen to them first.
Yeah. I love that because when I do what I call, the virtual coffee, I offer to do like a virtual coffee, and people will say, "Oh, say what are you doing? What do you do?" And I said, "No, let's start first. I like to hear the people first because then it's give me an opportunity to immediately see what they need, not as a potential clients, but how can I help them?" So according to what I listen to what they said and I say, okay, this is, and in the back of my head, I say, I can do this for them, do this for them. And then when it's my time to speak, then I introduce myself and then I say, this is what I can do for you. And then in the back of my head, if I see sometimes it's happened, not all the time, say, okay, there's a partnership because I'm thinking of a project and this person will be great for this project, then I can mention it immediately also. But because there's an opportunity for both of them, not just, do this for me.
Yes. And if you have those questions already in your quiver, questions that you can ask, so if they do say they want to start the conversation, tell me all about you, you can just ask questions and deflect it right back to them because you're asking questions. The fun part, or maybe the funny part, is when you sit down across from another master networker and you're both trying to get the other person to talk first.
Yeah.
Because you both know the value of not being the first to speak.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, so the questions really helps control the conversation. Yeah.
So now we're speaking about connecting with people online because that's what we do right now. Do you have a tips on what's the first message? Because I always say to people, don't just click on, do you want to be my friend or my connection? I said, send something personal. What do you send on as a first message when you don't know the people?
Usually if I'm sending them a message, it's because I've seen them somewhere.
Okay.
Either I've seen them at a workshop or an online event, or I've seen their videos.
Mm-hmm.
So start with a compliment. I mean, it's a sincere compliment because you wouldn't be reaching out to them if you weren't interested or curious or impressed.
Mm-hmm.
So start with complimenting them or mentioning where you saw each other. That lets people know that this is not just some random, I found you on a
I
search.
hate that. I hate when people say,
Yes.
oh, because, sometimes, not sometimes, each time now I ask people, I'm curious, when people will invite me, I said, I'm curious, what did you find interesting in my profile?
Yeah.
And I hate when people say, oh, Facebook told me to look at you, LinkedIn told me. I said,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. And even if it's just people in common, because sometimes that tells you the character of the other person, the person that we have in common. Oh, I really think that person's amazing. And we're both connected to them. So we might find each other amazing.
Mhm.
Yes. Yes. So there's some form of pre-connection. It's never just random.
And I guess you, like me, you don't recommend to use the chat box. I hate that, but I guess you don't. Do you use them or because I have
Oh, the
people
chat
say,
bots.
yeah,
Oh,
I have people who say, oh no, I use them, but in a certain way. I notice that each time somebody sends me something with a chat box, you can see immediately. For me, that's a red flag.
yeah.
I don't use
Yeah.
it at all, even if it goes faster because the system can connect you with more people. But
That's the networking equivalent of one of those 800 number
mhm,
call menus. I just want to talk to a person.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's okay for managing expectations, like, hey, got your message, I'll get back with you, kind of a thing. But if
Yeah,
you
not
want to
those connection.
pre-qualify, I mean, that's sales. You're trying to pre-qualify a sale. Networking is not selling.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so yeah.
Yeah, we come back to that.
Yes, yes.
Okay, great. So thank you very much. You gave us a lot of
My
information.
pleasure. Thank you for
And,
having me.
and then people know by now that all the interviews are free for 48 hours. But if you want to keep them, if you want to be able to listen to them along the long term, and if you want to listen to them next week or the week after, or even in 3 months, you can buy the pack. Can you mention us what people will get with the pack?
Um, uh,
What they will get, like the first gift that you give that everybody will receive, and then the one that they will receive with the pack.
So, well, the gift that everyone will receive is you're going to get an opportunity to attend my networking and communications landscape program for free. It is a 1-hour program that is actually going to offer not only 4 networking techniques, so you can effectively control the outcome of your networking, but it's also going to include 4 communication styles, so you can not only find what makes you most comfortable, but you can help identify other people's comfort level. The awareness of this gives you the ability to control and move easily throughout multiple styles and of communication and networking. And it's actually called my Atlas program because it's a giant map overview of everything that's available to you. And part of the package is you will get an opportunity to attend one of the master courses that I'm offering as well. Like I mentioned, there are 4 networking styles: farming, hunting, fishing, foraging. And you will get an opportunity to attend one of those master courses of your choice.
Great. And the master course, you get them, as I repeat, for when you buy the pack of the summit, you will get this bonus, and then you get the recording of all the experts and all the second bonuses, because I asked everybody 2 gifts, two gifts for you. So you get 2 gifts. For everybody, I said, I want 2. I don't want only 1. I want 2 gifts from you.
Absolutely.
So, thank you very much, Wendy, because this was really great. And as you, I love speaking about networking. We could speak for hours and hours for sure. But I really hope for everybody listening that you listen and you will implement, because again, I keep saying it, but don't just listen and say, oh, that was great, and then you go back to what you used to do. Implement, decide what are the tips and the strategy that you want to implement this week, the one that you want to implement this month, maybe the next during the quarter. Make sure that you have all your notes and you come back to your note on a regular basis, because that's the reason why you will be able to grow your business faster, because the faster you implement, the faster you grow your business. So hope you listen to that, and especially if you buy the pack, you will have the opportunity to come back again and again and again on this recording and say, oh, what did she say? Oh yeah, she said something. Yeah, I can go back to the recording now. Okay, so thank you very much, Wendy.
Welcome,
it was
Biba.
great to speak to you again. And for everybody else, well, then I see you in the next interview. Bye-bye, everybody.